Power on and check your feed. It's ingrained into our daily routine. But somewhere in that routine lies a temptation more and more people are giving into.
In a relationship outside of your physical relationship that would include any form of social media, be it text, be it Facebook, be it Instagram, Twitter, anything that you have to turn a switch on.
Susie Marquez, the clinical director at Samaritan Counseling Center, has seen it all. She says since the creation of social media, it has brought on a whole new set of relationship problems.
More access people have to social media, easier access to cross a boundary that they might not have done if it would be a face-to-face interaction. It doesn't make it feel as if you're doing something wrong.
She says the thrill of connectivity is causing a real-life disconnection.
It's so prevalent because we have access to it 24/7.
It's even brought on a new term, back burner relationships. An Indiana University study found that Facebook users in relationships frequently use the site to keep in touch with a platonic friend should their current relationship go south. In the study, men reported twice as many back burners than women. But situations like these are a gradual process.
Like, well, you're constantly nagging me, so they're talking to a person, oh, my wife is constantly nagging me. And then that's where the lines start to get crossed. If you cannot have that discussion with your spouse, but you're having that discussion with someone else, you have developed an emotional relationship that you don't have with your significant other.
A digital disconnect is something West Texan Rob Jenkins knows all about.
It's been a problem, a consistent problem, actually.
Currently single, the local business owner says social media has changed the dating game.
If people like you, they're going to let you know. They're going to let you know. They have a lot more nerve when they're behind a computer.
Jenkins, who travels often in his line of work, believes social media can be toxic to a relationship.
She sees that I'm in New York, and there's people in New York saying, can't wait to see you. You know, I got my tickets. What are we doing after the show? Like, that's going to put bad thoughts into her head. The idea of somebody's looking forward to you being in their town, and I'm here, I'm stuck here, and I can't supervise it. Making it work is difficult. I mean, it takes a lot of work. I mean, somebody has to really trust you, and you really have to trust the other person.
Hard work, no doubt. Marquez says part of her job is helping couples find common ground and setting boundaries.
If you don't have that boundary already established prior to, then when it actually happens, it's like, where did this come from? It's hard because they don't consider it an issue until it becomes an issue.
Marquez says if you don't have those boundaries set by your first or second date, you're just wasting your time and setting yourself up for heartache. But what if you're past your first or second date? What if you're engaged to be married?
Just photography.
Heather Hawkes is at that step.
That's everything I'm telling you.
She's in the process of planning her big day.
Now we're starting to set budgets and we're starting to figure out who's gonna cater, who's gonna bake the cake.
Heather met the man of her dreams in high school.
I always kind of felt something for him.
And she's already convinced at a young age that she's ready to marry her fiancé, Fago.
My favorite thing about him is how he loves me. Like, I just know that there's no one else who can love me the way he loves me.
While the pair are preparing to make the ultimate commitment, Hawkes says getting to this point took a lot of work. Social media almost derailed their relationship.
This Twitter account randomly tweeted out one day after lunch that Fago had a lot of side chicks alongside me, and I was like, what the heck is this? Like, I was kind of mad because this was weeks in our relationship. We're barely starting to know each other.
She says communication was key to fixing their online drama.
You can't believe everything that's on the internet, like everyone says. So eventually I got over it. You have to trust your partner.
But in some situations, finding trust, or rather rebuilding it, can be a challenge.
What is it that you value about each other? What is it that you want to restore in your relationship? We have to go one piece at a time and going back and setting the boundaries.
Hawkes and her fiancé found common ground and have since built an unbreakable trust.
If you don't trust your partner, you're not going to be okay with them doing anything on social media.
But that's not the case for everyone.
If I'm with someone and I'm seeing their phone going off and, God, I'm asking questions. Who is that? What do they want? Why are they messaging you? Do they know that you're with me? You know, that type of stuff. And it can cause a problem almost instantly.
At this point, shutting down all internet access and social media isn't realistic. But what is realistic?
If you think in your mind, I probably shouldn't do this, I shouldn't friend this person, or I shouldn't text at another level, then you probably shouldn't.
I just want them to see a time that was just an awesome time to be alive.
The 60s have arrived at Garden City High.
I just want to bring back a time that was simpler, more fun.
From records to memorabilia, everything is authentic. Even the napkin holders have ads, not printed from the internet, but cut out from 1960s magazines. After 40 years in education, food supervisor Rhianne McKinnon brought an idea to life.
There's so many rules and regulations these days in school that, I just want to step back and enjoy it. And I want them to enjoy school.
School is all about learning. And now that includes lunch.
That's kind of my goal, is to let them learn something without them having to think about it.
She did this for the kids, but even the adults love the makeover.
She's always been creative and tried to find ways for the students to have a good time and still learn.
Rhianne paid for it out of her own pocket, but doesn't know the cost. What she does know, her gift to the school will keep people smiling. The school has no plans to change the newly decorated cafeteria. Rhianne's legacy will live on even after she's no longer here. In Garden City, Julia Thatcher, CBS 7 News. On a roster full of freshmen and sophomores, Corian Brooks has made his mark as the only senior on the first ever Falcon football team.
I think it's a very special situation. I feel very blessed to be here. I mean, I really look forward not only to my senior year, but seeing these young guys grow and seeing what happens to them within the next couple of years, and really just how this program builds for the future.
Not many athletes would choose to leave a program they're already established in to risk joining a brand new one. But Coach Kerrigan and his staff have history with Corian, as they were his coaches at his former school, Tarleton State University. They made a big impact on him from the start.
The reason why I chose to come to UTBB was because of Coach Kerrigan and Coach Minio and Coach Martin as well. They're really good people. When I went to Charleston, they treated me like family, and I really look up to them as men.
Corian hopes that his legacy will be a man the younger players could look up to, a leader of the first ever Falcon football team.
We all are coming in to do the same thing, but the only difference is that I've had some experiences, and I've tried to use that to help the young dudes, try to mentor them a little bit, help them just with their technique and everything, just to get better, give them advice if they need some help.
As for his expectations for this year's team,
even if we're a first-year program, if we come together just like everybody else, we can compete with anybody.
Jane Tatum, the concept is to bring as many prescription pills as you possibly can to a party. Then you pour them into a bowl, grab a handful, and swallow as many as you can. Teens and young adults are referring to these get-togethers as farm parties. Farm as in pharmaceuticals. Have you ever heard of a farm party?
No, I have not.
No.
No. Of a farm party before? No. I would just think of a bunch of animals.
Local medics and prevention groups say they're hard to track down, given the seemingly harmless names teens are using when referring to the parties, code names like a Skittles or trail mix party. Whether it's the bowl concept or just swapping pills, it's a real thing, and teens are partaking in these parties right here in the Permian Basin.
It's usually a small group of friends. It's usually just kind of, on the spur, on the fly type thing.
Kit Bredemis is the director of emergency services at Midland Memorial Hospital. He's all too familiar with the term farm party. The trend started picking up here in 2008. Bredemis says that's when he began noticing more overdoses among children under 17 years old. Fortunately, the numbers began to drop and have since fallen to an average of 40 for the past 5 years. Last year, they saw a total of 41.
Typically, the most common overdose we see is usually the opiate narcotics, usually leftover medications, and in children, in the teenager population, we typically see that either being the parents, that they've outdone their prescription, they don't need them anymore, they just had them laying around.
Bredemis recalls one particular teen who was rushed to the hospital for overdosing at one of these parties.
It made it extremely difficult to identify what exactly had been ingested, simply for the fact that they had just placed a bunch of different pills into a bowl to see what the effect would be.
While the teen did survive, Bredemis says if treatment isn't done within an hour of the overdose, the chances of having a full recovery are slim. Some good tips to keep in mind is to always keep your prescription pills and over-the-counter drugs locked away, and to always keep count of your pills as well as your child's prescription if they have one too. And remember that if you have any prescription pills lying around that you don't use, get rid of them. There's plenty of drop-off locations in Midland and Odessa, and you can find out those locations on our website at CBS7.com. Reporting for CBS 7 News, Deanne Lopez.
It's just devastating. It's like I gotta start all over and depend on somebody else right now.
Rochelle Guidry and her 9-year-old son lost nearly everything they owned after flood waters consumed their home.
My bedroom furniture was my dad's grandmother's, over 100-year-old furniture. I mean, it's just totally destroyed. There's already mold growing everywhere. You see how high the water went? There was nothing safe.
Her pain can be felt by thousands in Denham Springs, including her next-door neighbor, Keith Kelly, whose home is a total loss as well.
Just total destruction. Everything destroyed. All the memories, all the hard work that went into buying things that we all own, you know, and work so hard for. It's all gone.
While thousands like Keith and Rochelle are now in recovery mode, others are still trying to save their home.
Those 4 pumps are what's pumping all the water away from my house right now. Now it's not up, it's not to where it's gonna get in. I still have probably 5, maybe 6 inches at the most, and that's kind of exaggerating. But as soon as it gets that high, I mean, it's in my house.
Pete Bird and his neighbors in St. Gabriel have been fighting to keep flood waters away from their homes for the past 4 days. So far, he's been successful. But if the flash floods continue like they have been, that could quickly change.
Scary when you're about ready to lose everything, you know, your whole life.
But with neighbors like Blaze Ragusa, who are keeping a close eye on the water levels and people's homes, Pete has high hopes that everything will be okay. This historic flood may have caused a lot of pain and loss for South Louisiana, but one thing is for sure, it hasn't taken their faith.
Louisiana is a prideful state. We have a lot of pride in our state, and we are tough as nails, and we will bounce back, I promise.
Reporting in Louisiana, Deanne Lopez, CBS 7 News.